In a misty village nestled at the edge of an ancient forest, there was a story whispered around firesides about the witch mother-in-law. Her name was Iyana, and she was a mysterious figure who lived on the very outskirts of town, her house hidden behind crooked trees and thick brambles. Villagers claimed she had powers that allowed her to see into hearts, to read minds, and to cast spells that could change the course of anyone's life. And those powers, they said, grew only stronger when she became a mother-in-law. Years ago, Iyana's only daughter, Lila, fell in love with a young man named Emeka. He was kind and hard-working, loved by the village, and had a laugh that could charm even the grumpiest of hearts. But he was terrified of Iyana. The villagers had warned him that she was no ordinary woman, that her magic was ancient and dangerous. Still, Emeka loved Lila deeply, and despite his fear, he asked for her hand in marriage. When he first visited Iyana's house to ask for her blessing, he was struck by the sight of her, tall and mysterious, with eyes that seemed to peer straight into his soul. She welcomed him in with a smile, yet he felt as if a storm was brewing in her presence. "Do you know what it is to be a husband?" Iyana asked him over a cup of tea, her voice calm, yet somehow laced with warning. "Yes," Emeka replied, though his voice wavered. "I know what it means to love and protect." Iyana nodded, yet a strange glint flashed in her eyes. "Love and protection are noble words," she said, her voice a murmur like the wind. "But they come with a price. Will you care for her, even when the days are hard, even when the world seems to turn against you both?" Emeka, nervous yet resolute, promised that he would. Iyana looked at him for a long time, then finally nodded. She didn't smile, but she granted them her blessing. The wedding was beautiful, and for a time, all was peaceful. Emeka and Lila were happy, and though the villagers still whispered about Iyana's powers, the couple felt as though they were blessed. But soon enough, Iyana's magic began to seep into their lives in subtle ways. The first sign came when Lila fell ill with a mysterious fever. Emeka tried every remedy he knew, even consulting the village healer, but nothing worked. Desperate, he went to Iyana's house and pleaded for her help. She watched him calmly, then gave him a small vial filled with a strange, shimmering liquid. "Give her a single drop," she said, "and only a single drop." Emeka hurried home, following her instructions to the letter. To his astonishment, Lila's fever broke almost instantly, and by morning she was healthy once more. Relieved, he thanked Iyana, but from that day on he couldn't shake the feeling that she was watching them more closely, that she was somehow entwined in their lives in ways he couldn't see. Soon other strange occurrences began. When Emeka returned home late, he'd find Iyana standing outside their door, as if waiting for him. If he and Lila ever quarreled, he'd notice her shadow drifting through the trees near their house, watching with an intensity that sent shivers down his spine. Once, after he returned from a particularly difficult day in the fields, he found his tools mysteriously sharpened, even though he hadn't touched them. As time went on, Emeka's patience began to fray. He felt as though he was no longer living with only Lila, but with her mother's spirit as well, her silent presence lingering in every corner of their home. One evening, after a heated argument with Lila, Emeka stormed outside and found Iyana waiting for him again, this time with a look that was neither kind nor cruel, but something else entirely, something powerful and ancient. "You swore to love her," Iyana said, her voice as soft as the night air. "Do not break that promise, Emeka." Feeling his heart race, he asked her, "Are you casting spells on us? Why do you watch over us like this?" She looked at him, her gaze piercing but not unkind. "I am a mother," she said simply. "A mother never truly lets go of her child. But if you love her, as you say you do, then you must not fear me. I have only ever given you what you needed: strength, patience, healing." Realizing that her watchful presence, though unsettling, had always been protective, Emeka's anger softened. Iyana may have been a witch, her magic woven into their lives in ways he couldn't control, but he saw now that it was all out of love for Lila. Her spells, her silent watch, even her strange tests had been her way of ensuring their bond was strong, and that Emeka would never falter in his promise. In time, Emeka grew to accept Iyana's magic, understanding that it was not meant to harm but to protect and guide. He even came to rely on her wisdom, seeking her out when times were hard, learning the subtle lessons she shared about life and love. Iyana was still a mystery, but she was no longer the fearful figure he had once imagined. Years later, after Iyana passed, the villagers noticed her roses blooming brightly around her old cottage, and it was said that her spirit continued to watch over the young couple, guarding them with a love so fierce it stretched beyond the veil. And though her magic lingered in the village, no one feared it any longer, for they knew that the witch mother-in-law's heart had always been with her family, and that her love, like her magic, was forever intertwined in their lives.